What's up guys, CJ here, and today we've got a massive new update for you about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as set visit reports from a variety of outlets have finally been revealed. With the movie just 3 months away now and on the heels of the incredible Super Bowl spot last night, we know more about the movie, the characters, and the plot than ever before thanks to outlets like Collider and Slash Film, just to name a few. And these details range from minor story beats to potentially major plot points and interesting Easter eggs, so if you want to go into the movie completely blind, you might want to click away now. Alright, let's get started, and let's start with the timeline. Volume 2 picks up only several months after the events of the first movie, with the Guardians having set themselves up as a more organized superhero team in the aftermath of the battle for Xandar. The movie reportedly opens with the team having been hired by a group of self-genetically engineered beings, who Slash Film describes as pompous, known as the Sovereign, on their planet called, who would have thought, Sovereign. Essentially, the Sovereign have hired the Guardians to protect them from this interdimensional monster that's eating their power batteries and wreaking havoc. In exchange, the Guardians will get a very particular reward, Karen Gillan's Nebula, who the Sovereign have captured. Despite taking care of the monster, things grow complicated when Rocket decides to steal a few of the batteries for himself, because as he tells Drax, they're really expensive and the Sovereign won't possibly notice. Guess what? They notice. And so the leader of the Sovereign, Aisha, played by Man from Uncle Villainous Elizabeth Debicki, hires Yondu's Ravagers to pursue the Guardians, which Yondu protests against, saying they'd not only be running into the heroes, but probably the Nova Corps too. In one of the plot's major developments, this leads the Ravagers to actually mutiny, claiming Yondu's gone soft both in this case and the fact that he didn't really pursue Quill after his trickery with the Infinity Stone and the Troll Doll in the last movie. This sets up the film's second villain to go along with Aisha, Taserface, the Ravager that leads the mutiny against Yondu and later leads the Ravagers in pursuit of the Guardians. Both Collider and Slash Film note that this is a much more streamlined story, focusing more on the growth of the Guardians both individually through their relationships with other characters and as a team. Taserface and Aisha aren't the only new characters though, which brings us to Ego and Mantis. Ego appears to the team on a planet called Berhurt. He's an adventurer who's heard of the Guardians and has tracked them down as he's been looking for Peter Quill for a long time, because Quill is his son, as was revealed at SDCC. As them revealing that twist so early would indicate, according to Slash Film's set report, the Ego being Quill's father's story point is not actually really a huge reveal or anything like that, and Marvel even hinted that it might be used in promotional material for the film. But there's some pretty interesting details surrounding Ego, Peter, and Peter's father in the comics that surfaced in these set reports, believe it or not. Collider's set report revealed that one of the planets that will be visited is named, wait for it, Jasson. Jasson, a king of Spartax and the Spartoid people, was Peter Quill's father in the comics, and there were a lot of fans that were upset that they seemed to be needlessly retconning Jasson out of Peter's origin. But wait, things only get more interesting. The planet, according to Slash Film, was vibrantly red, looking like a 60s or 70s sci-fi album cover, and when asked about it, Kevin Feige deflected, suggesting that they ask James Gunn instead. Gunn reiterated, as he has previously throughout the production, that there was no Jasson in the MCU, and another producer said that the planet would likely be called something else in the final movie. But, and here is where the plot really thickens, Kurt Russell's chair on set actually bore the name Jasson as well. So, here's my theory. What if Ego is just the name of Kurt Russell's character's human body, as we know he inhabits one to travel around the galaxy, however his living planet form is actually just named Jasson? It's kind of a weird and out-of-the-box way to nod to Quill's original parentage, and one I don't feel like Die-Hard fans will really appreciate, but I'm kind of glad they found a way to work Jasson in there at the very least, and I'll be doubly fine with it if they manage to work in the rest of the Spartoid race at some point too. As for Mantis, we actually have less details on her. All we know is that she works for Ego, which has led to a pretty lonely existence, explaining her awkwardness with the rest of the team. The reports also reveal that she'll have a special relationship with Drax, as both have, to quote Collider, a very childlike innocence to them. That's one of the key relationships in the film, with several others being highlighted in both of these set reports. A major one will of course be Rocket and Baby Groot. According to Kevin Feige, their relationship was kind of flipped from the first movie, with Rocket now Baby Groot's protector instead of the other way around. Baby Groot, interestingly enough, isn't also entirely a baby, as mentally he's still the same Groot he was, despite being much smaller and of course, much more adorable. Over the course of this movie, Rocket is actually kind of chafing at being a member of the team, according to James Gunn. He's still coming to terms with his place in the team, team and among people in general, and might actually be having second thoughts about his decision. Another major relationship to watch is Quill, Yondu, and Ego, the dynamic between the son, the adoptive father, and the biological father, respectively. In the words of Chris Pratt, you get to find out who he hopes his father is and who he wishes his father is, and you get to find out whether or not that is the reality. It sounds like Ego might not exactly be everything Star-Lord imagined, maybe given the fact that he's a living planet, which kind of sounds in line with Peter's relationship to Jason from the comics, interestingly enough. Meanwhile, it might turn out that Yondu has really been more of a father figure than Peter initially realized. But the relationship I'm most interested in seeing developed more in the sequel is Gamora and Nebula. The adopted sisters/trainees of Thanos himself had their dysfunctional family life briefly touched upon in the first movie, but the set reports promise us it'll be touched on even more in the second one. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean their adopted father will actually be showing up. As Gunn said, that is in fact not the case. However, the backstory of the girls' childhoods will play a role in the story, and that kind of gives you more insight into Thanos without the Mad Titan really being there even, says Zoe Saldana. This all kind of sets up one of the real major takeaways from the set reports, that this film is actually, interestingly enough, truly pretty separate from the greater MCU, which a lot of people might find surprising given the connection to Thanos with Infinity War coming next fall. According to James Gunn, the way the film ends and the makeup of the team at the end of the film will inform future movies, but whether or not he's just saying the Guardians roster at the end of the movie is the one we'll see in Infinity War or not remains to be seen. For some other cool tidbits like info on a major character in Guardians team member that was cut from the film, be sure to check out the links in the description below, but that's going to do it for me here. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw and subscribe for more great content every single day. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.